G'day guys, today I'm finally working on making this thing a whole lot prettier. You can see I've done two things here. I have added, lighting is the main thing actually. We've got lighting, we've got shadows. You can see when the light shines on this face, it's a bit darker than it is on this face. And the way we get that is we've got to add normals. And so normals are sort of say, hey, this face to the renderer, tell it it's pointing upwards, so it knows how to reflect the light and sort of how to light this one. This one is pointing this way, this one is pointing this way. The other thing I've done is I've added these sort of inner corners. So we added ramps in the previous go, and I just added these inner corner ones. And that actually added a whole lot of realism. I actually did create an outer corner one, but the script to actually add that to the world is a bit more complicated, so I need to fiddle with that a bit yet before I have that one filling in those little gaps. But we've got these inner ones. I really wanted to put these ones in because these are an interesting case for the normals, because the top is actually made of two triangles, one pointing that way, one pointing this way, whereas every other face I've got in the game so far is always just one direction. So we will add the normals to do the lighting, and we can get the shadows from that as well for free. And we'll add these inner corners. And just to show you what a big difference it is, let's switch those normals off and regenerate. And oh my God, how have we been looking at it like this for so long? Turn them back on. Much nicer. Let's get to it. All right, so the first thing we need to do is just go and find our ramp block. We're going to duplicate that, and we're going to make a ramp inner corner. There's a few things we need to do. So it's going to extend ramp. So we won't actually need to have the rotation anymore. Ramp inner corner. We're going to have a new block type, ramp inner corner. Let's leave this here, even though it would extend from ramp. We don't need the set rotation anymore. We still will need to change how it's rendered a little bit. But let's go to our base block. We're going to add ramp inner corner as a type. Now I did consider having the ramp inner corner, outer corner, anything like that, just be a ramp, and then have the actual mesh here when it's created, sort of based on what's around it, draw it differently. And I might still come back and do that, honestly. But this is the more simple way to do it now. I'll have everything separate, and then if I want to sort of put it all together later, when I already have it working, it'll be a lot easier. So let's see, we have ramp inner corner, and we need to go to our world and to make sure we preload the ramp inner corner. All right, so I think that's all the basics of that. Now all we've got to do is start making the render for it. And so what we need to do, let's think about how it's going to be. So our ramp currently is like this. So that's a bit messy. It's like this, and sort of that's X, Y, Z. And what we need to do is make one that is, let's see, it's going to be like that, a triangle on this side, a line coming down like that, and we're going to be, that's not right, like that. So I've done that really badly. But so these two here, that's our upwards face. This is the east face, south, and then these will be square faces in behind. All right, so let's do the top first. So once again, we're going to just draw our X, Y, Z. And so we're just going to go around clockwise for the first one. So it's going to first be X is negative, Y is positive, and Z is negative. So negative, positive, negative. Negative, positive, negative. It's actually the same as the standard ramp. Next one is positive, positive, negative. Positive, positive, negative. Next one is going to be negative, positive, positive, negative, positive, positive. And final is X is negative. Oops, sorry, the top one here. X is negative, Y is positive, Z is positive. So negative, positive, positive. Negative, positive. All right. Let's just make one and make sure it works. Now they won't load, what's going on here? They won't load this until I reload the project because we're running it in the editor. So let's do that. And what I'll do is in the world, I'll just tell it to override that this one block here, we're going to make this a ramp in a corner. And let's see how she looks. So he should be around here somewhere. Yep, there he is. Oh, bollocks, that didn't work at all. What have I done? What have I done wrong? The first one is negative, positive on Y, negative on Z. The next one is positive, positive, and still negative on Z. Yeah. And we're going down to here, which is still positive on X. It's negative on Y and positive on Z. Positive, negative, positive. All right, let's see if that was it. That was it. Sorry, guys. All right, so we've got that top face now. See, this one we don't have to change. This one we don't have to change. This one, we're going to have to change that back to a square. So let's see, that will be the, let's do the east one. So I'm pretty sure this one's east. So let's fix that. So right now we're not doing an east because ramps don't have one. And so what we'll do is we'll grab the east chunk from the block. We'll have to add the rotation stuff back in. So this one, rotate it. All right, so that should give us a square, which we've got. And now we need to make it this triangle here. So we're actually going to take away the 0th one. So we're going this way, so that's the 0th one, the first one. So if I comment that one out, and we'll just change these to the triangle version. Let's see how that works. And that's that. Okay, so that's east. That makes this one the north face. We find our north face. Yep, right now it's doing a triangle. We should be able to just restore this guy. Oh, what did I press? And just do the quad versions here. All right, that one's fixed, that one's fixed. All right, so we've got a new kind of block. So all we need to do now is put it in positions like this one. So what we're going to do is basically we're going to see, for the ramps right now, we're checking, is there a dirt here and an air here? In which case we'll put this one here. And if it's dirt here, air here, it's rotated. So this one, we're going to check if there's a dirt at this position and at this position, we'll put the ramp there. I'm not going to make it complicated. We're not going to check all 4 positions at once. So if it's 3, it'll just pick one or the other. We're not making it overly complicated yet. So let's go and add this in. So in our chunk, so here is our 4 different directions for placing a ramp right now. What I'll do is I'll steal one of these. And so what we're checking now is, let's say, so here's our direction. So 0 is east. So this way is east. So let's say we've got a block of dirt here. And then we'll look north, a block of dirt here. So there's a block here and a block here. Then yes, we'll build one of these, then we'll rotate it. So that's 0 and 1 for north. So 0 and 1. So if that's a dirt, and that's a dirt, and what we'll do is we'll put in a ramp inner corner, and the rotation for that one will be a 3. And then we'll just iterate through these. I could do a loop for this, but I want to be able to quickly fiddle with it. So this is going to rotate back to 0 because 3 is the highest. 2, 3 will be a 1, and 3, 0 will be a rotation of 2. Let's see if that worked, and then I'll go back and show you that again. And yeah, you can see we've got the corner pieces in now. There's quite a few of them, so you can see it does make a big difference. And I think in the future, if we get these outer corners in, that'll make a big difference as well. Let me just go back, because I know I skipped out of that pretty quick. So that's the code we just did for that. So the first 4 do ramps first, and then these ones, like probably it'll be overwriting some ramps, but that's fine. All right, so we've got the map looking a lot nicer now. So the next trick will be to make some shading, add those normals like I said I would. And let's do it. So this is sort of back to the first lesson. What we're going to do is we're going to add one more list here. It's actually going to be a packed vector 3 array, just like vertices. And we're going to call this our normals. This is in the chunk script, by the way. So let's go down to here. So here, we'll just reset that as well. Then what we'll do is we'll go and generate all our meshes. And then in the end, we will go array mesh dot array normal equals normals. Okay, so let's go make them for the blocks first. And basically what we have to do is for every vertex, we have to say which way it's pointing. So what we'll do is we would say chunk.normals.append. And so this is the top, and so it's pointing straight up. So it'll just be vector 3, 0, 1, 0. And that's it. We just do that for each one. But let's make ourselves a shortcut. We'll go to chunk in the same way we've got adding tries, adding quads, adding whatevers. Let's make one, whoops. Let's make one func add normals. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to add the count of how many vertices we're doing at a time. So if it's a square, we'll do 4. So count is an int. And then I'll have the vector 3 vector. Sorry, I did it the wrong way around. The vector, which is a vector 3. And so we'll just go for I in range count. And we'll go normals dot append vector. And that's just a bit of a quicker way to do it. Whoops, a bit of a quicker way to do it. Now in our block, what we can do, instead of having this in here, sort of messing it up, here we can go chunk dot add normals, and we're adding 4, and it's going to be vector 3, 0, 1, 0. And let's go and do this for the rest. So for the east block, it's 4, and these guys are pointing east, which is 1 to the x. For the south, they're pointing 1 to the z. For the west, they're pointing -1 to the x. For the north, north is pointing -1 to the z. And the bottom is -1 to the y. Now what I'm going to do, I don't want to have to do all my ramps and things yet, which is why I added this little ticket. I'm not sure if I did that in between. All I did is in world, I added one little export gen ramps here. And now when my chunk works, before it runs the add ramps, it just checks, is that switched on? So I can turn that off, and let's generate chunks. And you can see we've got a problem right here, but these ones are all looking nice. So we've got the light on this side, dark on this side, dark on this side. So the light is sort of up and to the left there, and it's so much more pretty. The reason this one didn't work is because we tried to render a ramp in there. You can see the array size for the vertices doesn't match the array size for the normals, which is naughty. So what we need to do is go back, and the reason it did that is just because of my little test ramp. is still here. So let's turn him off. And so that should work now. There we go. And let's add the switch to turn the normals on and off, just so we can do that comparison. Export vargen normals. And so what we'll do is in here, before we add these normals, we'll just go if get parent add normals. And so now we can just, let's see, generate it. Whoop. What did I do? No such thing as add normals. Get parent add normals. Did I not call it add normals? Gen normals. So pretty, not pretty, pretty. Okay, you get the point. And now I can actually play around. I can add a light. Let's add a directional light. Directional light is like a big sun light, so it doesn't matter where you put it. You can see right now it's pointing to the left. Let's have it pointing down like a sun. And you can see as I move it around, the light sort of changes. And I can also, with this guy, tell it to add shadows. And now we've got shadows and we can fiddle around. We could even implement some day-night cycle with that, with the shadows creeping across. You can see now all the lighting will work properly. And the cool thing is, all the blocks on top are getting lit. The ones underneath, they're not totally dark. So I'm not sure how to add like perfect darkness. I'll have to research that because I might want to have like real dark sort of default lighting, but maybe not. And this is quite bright, so I can fiddle with the energy of the light here and make it how I like it. Whoa, look at that glow. That's sweet. All right, let's do the ramps. So let's, first of all, let's copy a little add normal thing. Let's do a ramp. And so the ramp is like this, and the top face is pointing at a 45. It's sort of, let's see, that's 1 on the X and 1 on the Y. So the vector is 1, 1. Now the problem is that will put me here, and you want the length of your normals to be 1. So it should actually end about here. Because you can imagine it should be like a circle like that. If I'm pointing here, if I'm looking at this spot, the distance from here is actually, it's like 1.3, 1.4, something like that. That's okay. What we do is we go, what was it, 1 on the X, 1 on the Y, and we just normalize that. So when you normalize it, that sort of cuts off any of this extra and puts it back on here. So the actual vector will be something like 0.7, 0.7, something like that. All right, but this guy can be rotated, so we've got to rotate this as well. We'll just cut this rotation that we used here for our checking the neighbors. All right, so that's how we do these. So the next one is only 3, and this one's just looking east, so we don't need to normalize it. We just need to look to the east, but it does still need to be able to rotate. And so the rest of these are pretty simple. So the west one just points to the, so this was south. South should be 1. That's right, ramp doesn't have an east. So the west one is -1 to the X, and it's got 4 vertices, 3 vertices, 4 vertices. The north one has 3 vertices, and we're pointing north, which is -1 to the Z. And the bottom is -1, 0, it's got 4. And the bottom one doesn't really need to be rotated, but let's just leave it. I can't think of any reason I'd need it there, but yeah, let's just leave it. All right, now the problem is right now, I'm gonna have these ramps and the corner ramps. I wanna test these ramps first. So what I'll do, this generates the regular ramps, this generates the corner ones. What I'll do is for now, we'll just put a continue here, and so there won't be any inner corners. And let's see if this works. We'll add our ramps in now, and you can see the difference. Just how much more realistic does that make it look now? So here's without the ramps, very Minecrafty, very like 12 years ago Minecrafty. Generate. Ah, smooth. All right, let's get those corners back in. Now the corners do have a bit of a wrinkle. And that is because this one is pointing, well, let's see, that's pointing south and north, and this one, sorry, south and up, and this one is pointing east and up. And since we're saying, hey, this vertex, this vertex, this vertex, this vertex, this vertex, we can't say they're all pointing the same way. So we're going to actually have to separate this into a 3 vertex guy, and we're going to have to add 3 more vertices for this guy. I'll show you what I mean. So let's grab this from our ramp, go to our inner corner ramp. And so what we're going to have to do is actually split it into 3. So we're going to have this one. So we'll split it into 2 separate triangles. And it's looking which way? So this one is pointing Y and Z positive. So Y and Z positive. And these are triangles now. And then the second triangle will be like this. And this one is pointing, what is that? That is X positive, Y positive. Whoops, just did the wrong one. X positive and Y positive. That might work. Let's do the rest of these first to find out. Okay, so the east one is just pointing east. Does not need normalization. The south one is pointing south. There's 3 of them. So that is 1 to the Z. West, it's got 4 vertices and it is -1 to the X. North is -1 to the Z. And it's got 4 vertices. And the bottom one is pointing to the -1. And it's got 4 vertices. I'm not sure if I broke anything there. Let's give it a go. Oh, I need to switch them back on. So let's just do it. And have I done something a bit silly? What's happened there? I think when I did those replacement triangles, I've screwed it up a bit. Let's put in one up by itself and we'll try it again. All right. Yeah, so the sides are all good. I've just done my top triangles wrong. I think, yeah, you can see this triangle's wrong. Just this one should have this vertex here. So that's the second triangle. So this guy, I've done it a bit wrong. It's the second one. So it should be, let's see, minus, plus, minus. Actually, before I do that, normally it would go bum, 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 and then boom. So let's make this the first one. So it's plus, minus, plus, minus on Y and plus on Z. So plus, minus, plus, and then the second one here, sorry, the second one here is X minus Y positive and Z positive. So minus, plus, plus, minus, plus, plus, and the final one is this top one, which should be, let's see, minus X and plus Y and minus Z, minus, plus, minus. And let's see how that works for us. Beautiful. And you can see that gives us, this one's in the dark, this one's in the light. Oh, he's a bit stretched, look at that. Now that stretchiness means the UVs aren't working properly. What I'll do is I'll just change the order of this a little bit. Here's the quick way. I think if I just do that maybe. Yeah, you can see that fixed the stretchiness. Just change the order of the triangles. And yeah, same thing for the second one. So let's just... They may end up being upside down after I just did that. So that may cause me trouble in the future. But in that case, I need to fiddle with my add UVs. So let's just keep that for now. All right, so now let's just fiddle with the light and make sure that everything's working as properly. Because if I've done something wrong, I've gotten the angles wrong, you can see all these dark ones, they're all pointing the same direction. So everything pointing this way is the same color. All right, so you know what, guys? I think we've done it. Let's see it in game. Should be pretty much the same. And yeah, you can see even my ugly textures look so much better when there's a bit of lighting in there. Yeah, we're looking really good now. I think that's a good basic look from which to start. I think, see, even this sort of really basic stuff is going to look better once we get all trees, once we add buildings, add a bit more complexity. It's going to be really nice. But yeah, also we'll add nicer textures and stuff later. But yeah, I think good first step of making our voxels, we can, oh, can I delete them? Yep, we can delete them. We can add them back. You can see right now it's adding ramps, which is not quite right, but we can add, we can delete. So we've got a nice basic little setup now. There's definitely still work left to be done on this, but I think we can start maybe looking at working on other systems in the game. I think I am pretty sold on doing 3D. I really do want to just have my little guys building caves in here. Oh, actually, one thing we might need to do, because one problem with this is, all right, let's say my guys build their big tunnel in here. They've got their base going on in there. I'm up here. How can I see? And I don't want to have to go in here like this. What we need to do, so yeah, we might do this next, is actually have like a cut off layer. So I can say, all right, anything below this level, we don't render it. So then I can see underneath. Or maybe make it transparent. Yeah, I think I'll fix that one first and move on from there. All right. Thanks for your time, guys. Hope you got something out of that. I think it's really coming along now. I really should have done the lighting at the start, but it would have made everything else complicated doing normal to everything as we went. All right, enough babbling. See you later.